That's my name.
Hey, this is Sharks Across Hollywood, and this is week 3 of Halloween, and this time we're actually doing Halloween 2024. Don't want to forget that. And this time we're actually doing like a real horror movie. The other movies were Resolution, I think, is actually a horror movie, but it's a different kind of horror movie. It's a slow burn.
The slowest of burns.
It's the kind of movie that my kids would look at and go, "This is boring," and then you slap them upside their heads and say, "You just don't understand." Right?
Like that classic Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song. Kids just don't understand.
So, the movie that we're talking about is Final Destination. It's a fucking classic. It's 24 years old. Is that fucking crazy?
God, I can't believe this movie's that old. That's absolutely bonkers to me.
I watched 4 out of 5 of these with my children. I watched the 5th one by myself last night because I wanted to be prepared. Because what I do want to do, which is why this is going to take 4 hours, we're going to break down each and every movie, plot by plot, just do the thing.
Whoa,
I'm kidding.
Each and every movie? What the fuck?
I'm kidding. I do want to talk about all the movies, though.
I don't mind if we go over some stuff.
I'm joking.
But
I'm joking. I'm just going to kind of compare.
I don't remember them that well. I only remember the keystone kills from each one. Like from 2, obviously I remember the logging truck. Everybody remembers the logging truck from 2. That's probably the most iconic kill of the entire franchise.
So you're gonna bring up part 4, which is the Final Destination, and you always do this, and you argue with me and tell me I'm wrong, and I'm not wrong. I'm right, even though you will consistently tell me I'm wrong. You keep on saying he got his asshole sucked out in a hot tub. Not a hot tub. Never was a hot tub. It's a swimming pool, just like I said. You know how I know? I watched it last week. Still a swimming pool.
Okay. In that case, then this is a different universe, and you grew up in one universe where it's a swimming pool. I grew up in the other universe, which has obviously ceased to exist.
I didn't grow up in shit because I didn't watch it until like last year.
Well, then we might both have gotten shifted over to this universe. Then you might have grown up in the same universe as I did, and we all got shifted over. But it was a hot tub in my universe, so fuck you.
So I do want to talk about all these movies. Okay, well, the reason I want to talk about kind of all of them in this one episode is because I don't see us ever going back and revisiting any one of these movies singularly just by itself again. So that's why I want to do the first one and then just kind of touch on the other ones and fucking be gone, because holy shit, it is essentially the same movie 5 times.
I don't think I ever watched the 5th one.
Okay, we'll get there. Okay, so we know the first one, so let's skip the first one because we're going to talk about that. It'll take at least 3 hours.
Yeah, good call. Let's skip the one we came here to talk about. The one that lays all the groundwork for all the other ones. Yeah, fuck that one. Who needs it?
So the fucked up part right now is that I had the whole thing planned in my head, just like I always do, but now that we're here, I can't remember a goddamn thing I was going to say. So the first one is, I think, a pretty good movie. It's stupid, but it comes on the tails of Scream, just like all the fucking teen slashery movies, because at the core, these movies are all really just slasher movies. Kinda.
Yeah, this is a slasher movie in which the slasher is an incorporeal celestial phenomenon, I guess. It's like a force of nature, but with a slasher mentality.
Yeah, so part 2, obviously, it has that iconic opening with the fucking with the logging truck and the big crash. The issues that I have with the franchise start in that movie, though, which we'll touch on when I talk about.
So you don't have any issues with this first movie?
No, I obviously do, but like the real issues, like I have issues with the first movie as like, well, that was stupid, but I can get over it because, at least they're taking the shit seriously, whatever.
Yeah.
So part 2 is pretty cool for the most part. The characters aren't despicable assholes who you hate completely. Part 3 is pretty good. I know it's one of those. It's very teeny boppery, like even more so than the first 2. Takes place at a fucking carnival. It's the roller coaster crash, which is fucking terrifying on its own if you go to amusement parks a lot. Granted, that never happens. It has happened. All these probably are based on like sort of true things that have happened.
But it's not a common occurrence or anything like that.
But, the kills are pretty cool in part 3. The chick getting the fucking nail gun to her face, that was a pretty good one.
I've forgotten that one entirely.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in it, your favorite. But now, okay, I'm going to talk about part 4 a little bit harder, maybe. Part 4 might be one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It's genuinely a terrible movie. And it really bummed me out. Because I watched them all like a few years ago. Because I'd seen the first 3, I'd never seen 4 and 5, and I'm like, oh my god, 4, that was really shitty. The 3D stuff doesn't work unless you're staring at it on a big fucking 3D screen in a movie theater.
Right.
It looks really, really awful.
You mean kind of like the 3D stuff in every fucking movie that's ever used 3D?
Yes. But at least when you go like Jaws 3D, it looks so dumb you can kind of forgive it because it's funny. This is just, it's rough. It's rough. And not to mention, I can get past that, but the characters are either utterly forgettable or despicable and annoying. I hated every single character in that movie, and I was so glad they were dead. But that's the biggest issue that I have with the movie, is that part 4 just revels in all the death. It is none of it serious. You cheer. I don't want to cheer. Like the first 3 movies, all the deaths are very serious. They actually mean something. Even if you don't know the characters that well, it means something. Like they're all taken very seriously. I think a big part of it is that in part 4, none of them know each other, really. Part 2, none of them know each other either, but they're more likable, so it's different. And actually, part 2 is where that starts. Cause
with the unlikable characters, you mean?
There's a couple unlikable people, but I can get past them because the likable people are likable enough. No.
There was really only one unlikable character in 1, and honestly, I can't believe it wasn't fucking Stifler, because
Stifler's funny as shit.
No,
he's great.
He is. Sean William Scott, for some reason, I remembered him playing the asshole in this.
Nope.
It's got to be because he was so intimately
You were conflating him
Stifler.
with Stifler.
Yeah, because he's totally, I mean, he's almost a non-character in this, quite frankly.
Yep, he just kind of shows up to get his head knocked off.
Yeah,
we'll talk about.
But no, the other guy, the guy who looks like the creep from fucking Nip Tuck.
I've never seen Nip Tuck, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's one of the doctors is just a total fucking creep and looks like it's probably this guy's dad or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, that guy's just such a raging tool the entire movie. But he's really the only one. Everybody else is fine.
But I also don't hate him because he's your typical jock stereotype who actually has a reason for being kind of a dick later on because,
I mean, he's a huge dick right out the gate. He comes around by the end, but yeah, he is a huge dick immediately.
But in part 2, right at the end, there's a scene where the kid's trying to grill on the barbecue and he blows up. And his hand lands in front of his mom on her plate, and then the music starts. It's all rock and roll and happy. I'm like, no, ew, I don't like that. That's not fun. That's not fun at all. And that's every death in part 4 is like that. So yesterday, like I told you, my commitment to this show is such that I'm watching Final Destination Part 5 so I can have a bit to say about every one of these movies so we never have to talk about them again. And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm dreading this.
If that was your angle, you should have at least mentioned it to me.
I was dreading it so much, and I'm watching it, and I actually started to take a couple notes on it because I liked it. It was actually good. Not great, but it was actually a decent movie. They made part 4 is a Sharknado movie. It's that bad. But they had $40 or $60 million to make this awful movie.
Oh my god.
You should just watch a couple kills and then watch a bit of Sharknado and it looks exactly the same.
Does it visually look the same too?
Yeah. The acting's on par, but at least in Sharknado's fun. So
yeah.
So, and we like those people.
Those characters. What was it, 4?
4, exactly. 4.
About the 4th movie.
Sharknado 4 had the biggest budget. It was the worst movie. Final Destination 4 had the biggest budget. It was the worst movie. I don't understand.
One of those things where, if it's a B movie franchise, maybe dial it back for number 4 instead of cranking it up.
Oh, and they cranked it. They cranked it up. It's even called The Final Destination. But Final Destination 5, I'm like, this is gonna suck. I watched it. I'm like, holy shit. These characters are actually characters. And it helped because they all know each other. They are all working in this same spot. They were all on that bus together, and they were all together on the bridge when it collapsed. Oh, part 4 opens with a fucking crash at a racetrack, by the way.
I like I said, I've almost completely forgotten that movie. I was so exhausted. I've said this on the podcast before if the listener wants to go back, but to recap, if you're a first-time listener, I watched part 4, while I was on vacation with my family after a day of driving like 16 hours straight. By the time we got to the hotel room, I just wanted to relax and watch a movie, and I didn't even have the strength to sit up for it. So I put on Final Destination 4, which happened to be on HBO at that moment, and my kids were all way too fucking young to watch it. I was just like, just cover your eyes, which of course they did not.
Oh, no. My thing is, don't look at it if you don't want to see it. I know you weren't quite there yet with your parenting, but that's, make good decisions. If you want to have nightmares, look at that. But
anyway, yeah, suffice to say, I barely remember it.
Before I started watching them all again, I remembered the beginning of the 4th one and the end of the 5th one. Part 5, I'm going to spoil the ending for you because
I actually don't think I've seen part 5.
Turns out you were watching a period piece the entire time.
What, it takes place before Final Destination 1?
It takes place like a couple months before, and by the end of the movie, they're on the fucking plane going to France that crashes.
Is it that their experience is what set the whole chain in motion that led to Final Destination 1? Is that
No, because Bloodworth is there saying the same cryptic shit. Oh, I've seen this before. And he's just coming out. He's just taking wild swings in the dark. He's like, maybe if you do this, you can fuck with Death's design. The logic doesn't make sense by the time you get to the end of that movie, but you've kind of had a little fun, so it's fine. One of the characters dies like real hard right at the end, and I'm like, okay, that was appropriate. I don't know why that worked, and the one in part 2 didn't work, but
all right.
So each one has its own, like, this is how you defeat Death's list. Part 2, Death is working backwards on the list, and you can interfere just like always, and the introduction of new life that wasn't supposed to exist can fuck up Death's plan. By the end of that movie, guess what? Everything's fine, as far as I know. The loop on the first movie's closed, Clear is dead, and none of those characters ever show up again. Part 3, they all end up dying after we think they've won. Part 4, they just kind of decide, oh yeah, part 3 was pictures, and that's the sign that she was using.
Oh, okay.
And then in part 4, by the end, the dude's like, oh my god, what if this was just supposed to happen all along? What if we were supposed to be here and we're all supposed to die? I'm like, you just ruined all 4 movies just by coming up with that idea. But then the 5th one has an interesting idea where if you kill somebody, they'll take your place, and it'll fill your death spot, and you get to live out the years that they were going to live.
Okay,
but it gets
all right.
yeah.
So we're turning the characters into the villains of the piece.
Not on. So there's this one character who gets off the bus, right? And there's this dickhead who he has to deal with at work, and he ends up like accidentally nudging him and killing him and making him fall off a thing. And he's like, "Oh well, I guess I'm not next anymore because I didn't mean to do that, but I killed him. If you were supposed to die, then you're not supposed to be near all these people anyways, so." That guy who accidentally killed that other guy is the one who gets the right payoff for the logic of the movie that Bloodworth set up. Bloodworth is played by Tony Todd, by the way. He ends up...
They don't really... Do they say his name in the first one? I don't think they do.
I don't think they ever do.
He's just in the credits.
Yeah. The plane, a part of the plane falls on top of him when they're at the memorial service for the guy who he accidentally killed. And because it turns out that guy had like a blood clot and he was going to die in a couple days. So the guy who killed him was going to be dead in a couple days anyways. But I mean, I guess technically the detective that ended up dying. Okay, now we're getting way too deep. But the logic just doesn't work with how the 2 other main characters kind of ended their thing and ended up on the plane.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. Either way, the main character in the 5th one works at a French restaurant, and he's going to France to work at that French restaurant, and the French restaurant that he works at is the sign that ends up killing Carter at the end.
Right.
So that's fun.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch all these. I have 1, 2, and 3. I don't think I have 4 and 5.
4's a piece of shit. Watch it so you can see what I mean, but then you get to 5 and you're like, wait, this is gonna suck ass, and it still has the 3D problem, but it's not nearly as bad because like they take shit seriously, and some of the deaths are super cool. There's like a laser eye surgery part, and that's really fucked up. She doesn't die from the laser eye surgery. It's kind of ridiculous.
Fucking spoilers, man.
Oh, sorry, you're gonna forget before we even 5 minutes
not
from
now
now.
Not now that I want to, though.
Let's get to part 1. Let's talk about this shit.
Finally, all right.
This is the best one in the franchise, I think. I know people like remember 2 the most, but it's only because
that opening kill is amazing.
Yeah, that is. Oh god, I want her friends to die in that movie so bad. I hate them all. And that's not good. I don't want that the second the movie starts.
I think what ruined this movie for me the first time I watched it is that
Did you watch it in the theater back in the day, or
No, I watched it on home video because I was living over in Europe when it came out, and I was reading a lot of screenplays. This is one of those movies I've told you before, I have experiences with a lot of movies where I read the script first. This is one of them, and the script really wrecked my movie experience with this one, just because I think the directing in this movie is actually like a little campy, not necessarily intentionally. It's just like every single shot, there's just a doom tone to it,
Okay, you are. Yeah, I was thinking you were going to say that, and it takes itself so goddamn seriously.
Yeah.
But it should.
Seriously.
I don't.
No, it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work.
Because, try it. Watch part 4. You'll see exactly what I mean when they stop taking it so seriously.
No, I completely agree. I do think that for a director who maybe didn't have the ability to balance this the way it needed to be balanced, I think he went the right direction with it. If you're gonna choose between doing this movie and doing Idle Hands version of this movie, do this movie. Idle Hands was good for Idle Hands, but I mean, that could have very easily been the inclination, is to do this that way, and it would have been wrong.
Did you know it originally was going to be a Twilight Zone episode? I don't know. Was there a 90s Twilight Zone that I didn't know about?
Yes. It was much like all prior non-Rod Serling incarnations of the Twilight Zone.
It happened, but who gives a shit?
It happened, and everybody missed it. But I don't think it's a bad idea. It's a great Twilight Zone type of idea.
Yeah, this is such a great concept.
But it is something where you have to swallow the contrivance. You have to be like, okay, I'm on board with the absurdity, because it is absurd. If you kind of break it down logically to what it is, death is like a cosmic force, but it has intelligence and it has the methodology of Jigsaw. It's just an absurd premise. But if you can get on board with that, if you can get past how over the top that is, then it takes everything very seriously and it plays it really well. These actors are doing a good job. Devon Sawa maybe isn't the best lead for a serious movie. I think he works better in comedy. He's great in SLC Punk and he's great in Idle Hands. This one, I maybe wouldn't have chosen him for the role, but I get the inclination to do so. He was he was a rising star in that moment, I think maybe someone else maybe Hartnett could have done it better if they wanted a heartthrobby type of character. But, whatever. They chose him. That's fine. And he does a perfectly serviceable job. He's good. Ali Larter is excellent in this movie, although I will say that those bangs are doing her no favors. And they fixed it in the second one. In the second one, the bangs are gone. She looked fantastic. And then, I mean, everybody else was pretty much dead on. The douchebag guy, he was projecting douchebag energy so well, but then he had a turnaround and he's still kind of a douche, but he was on your side douche, and he worked well for that. His girlfriend character, for her small part, was dead on. Even Sean William Scott, for as much of an almost non-character as he is, he kind of embodied that whole just got swept up in the whole thing.
So let's talk about the beginning of the movie. You said the doom cloud over the movie. Every shot is just
it's frame one.
It's just this droney.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good Lord, guys.
Every look is just, what does it mean? What's going to happen? They're trying so hard to paint that sense of doom. And yeah, I mean, that's you have to be okay with that from the beginning. And if you are, you're going to enjoy this. If you're not, fucking get out now. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I haven't watched the trailer for this probably since early 2000 or late 1999. Mm-hmm. I bet it is fucking terrible.
Oh, yeah. No, it's probably one of those. I don't know if I ever watched the trailer for the first one, because like I said, I had just read the script, so I just immediately went and watched the movie once I got back and it was on video, I just wanted to immediately see it because it is a pretty good script. The ending is different in the script.
Is it? It should be, because that's if you want to talk about my problems, we'll get there. Not the ending itself, but like how our path to the ending.
No, it's the ending that is completely different in
Okay. Tell me when we get there.
Okay.
Because I have some, I don't know if I'll remember what I have to say by the time I get there, but because I can't remember now either.
I get why they changed it.
So before I saw this movie, a little bit more context before we actually start talking about the movie, good Lord, I used to watch TRL, right?
Total Request Live.
NSYNC was on TRL, and I remember Carson Daly asking them if they've seen any movies lately, and they said, yeah, Final Destination. You know what you shouldn't do? Go see Final Destination if you're afraid of flying. I remember that distinctly because I was afraid of flying because I'd never flown before. I go see the movie and I'm like, yep, never flying now. Obviously that didn't happen because I've flown to a few places now, but pre 9/11, where I'm watching it with Rachel and she's like, was this before? And I'm like, yeah, before. She didn't even have to finish the question. And then the girls are like, 9/11, they showed us videos of that in school. I'm like, get the fuck out. Okay, they can teach you about it. Do they really have to show you that stuff?
That seems intense. But then again, this generation is fucking crazy jaded. So
well, yeah, it took us a little while to get there. They're just born into the shit. So, you might as well, I guess.
Here's a concept to go to school with from the time you're 5 years old. Someone might show up with a gun and just kill everybody. When you live like that, maybe 9/11 isn't that scary.
Anyways, let's talk about a horror movie where a bunch of teenagers get killed. So the movie essentially opens with a plane crash. We meet all these characters. They're your typical, well, maybe atypical kind of horror characters. I mean, you got the main kid who's like kind of featureless, just kind of exists.
The main kids are blank that we impose ourselves upon.
You have the nerd, the nerdy virgin. You have the jockey douchebag with his super hot girlfriend. You have the Allie Larder, who is like the weird chick from the Breakfast Club, except she's not exactly like her, but apparently she's very intuitive too. He's not a witch, everybody.
And then there's the teacher.
And then the teacher, yep.
That's a pretty stock cast right there. Like that's slasher 101 pretty much.
Yeah, so, they get on the plane. They do the stuff I learned. Always take a shit before you take an international flight, and never fly when you hear John Denver on the radio at the airport. That's poor choices. Poor choices.
I completely agree. Because John Denver had died just a few years earlier.
It was like 1995 or something.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. And like he's on the radio at the airport, and the dude's just like, ooh, poor choice.
It's Rocky Mountain High, whatever the fucking Lynyrd Skynyrd famous song is, and then they're playing
Freebird.
They're playing Chubby Checker and Buddy Holly
and Richie Valens.
That's their playlist at the airport. So we get all these characters onto the plane.
That don't shit on an international flight. That's good advice.
Well, yeah, because it's the two friends. God, what is the main character's name? I forgot already. It's Devin fucking Sawa and his goddamn friend named Todd. I only know Todd because they say his name 1,000 times in the movie.
Yes, Todd's name does come up a bit.
And Allie Larder's name is Clear Rivers, and how the fuck can you forget that? Devin Sawa.
I seriously, having read the script, mind you.
You thought her name was Claire.
Yeah, I thought it was Claire.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought it was Claire until this viewing.
Oh, really? It's so
when I watched
weird.
The closing credits and it said Clear Rivers, and I was like, how the fuck did I miss that shit?
I didn't realize it until it was probably a decade or so ago. But like, not to mention, this is also one of those movies that I watch it and I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. And I watch it again, I'm like, well, that fucking sucks. It's one of those that goes back and forth.
Yeah.
There's a few movies
I can
like
completely see that.
Okay, so we get all these assholes onto the plane. Devin Sawa's character's sitting somewhere fucking in the back, and then these two chicks are like, hey, could you move so we can fucking sit together, me and this girl? And his friend Todd is like, no, don't you fucking move. Do not fucking move. And then he moves and he sits next to Todd and he goes, what, do you think we were going to titty fuck him on the way to fucking France? Oh, they're all taking a trip to France, by the way, for some reason.
With their French class.
And they get on the plane and there's a baby crying, wah, really loud. And then Todd's brother's like, oh, it would take a fucked up god to bring down this plane. And then they see like this he's a physically handicapped guy, and he's like a really fucked up god. I'm like, well, that's weird. It's a weird thing to say there, Todd's brother. And then, like all the movies, weird shit starts to happen, and Devin Sawa gets all freaked out, and then
key
little
starts
stuff
to happen.
yeah.
Things that are identifiable, like First off, he gets asked to switch seats. He switches seats. When he gets in the new seat, he turns the little knob on the tray table in the seat in front of him, and the knob just pops off, so the tray drops down on him. And, so like he remembers it.
The scene is fucking horrific. You get to see every character die in a horrible, horrible way. Some of them get sucked out of the plane. Some of them fucking blow up. Wow.
This is a thought that I had while watching it this time. The moment of takeoff, the moment when you've been on a plane.
Oh, yeah.
The moment when the engines really kick in and the plane starts accelerating and then leaves the ground and you get pressed back into your seat and gravity shifts, because you're accelerating so quickly, and then you shift upward into that upward trajectory.
Never makes me nervous. I'm fine.
They portrayed that really well in the movie. Like, I could feel everybody getting pushed back into their seat as you're watching.
Oh, I thought you were being sarcastic for a minute, but I don't think you're not being sarcastic. Okay, cool.
No, I'm being completely serious. They portrayed that so well that I felt like I could see everybody getting pushed back into their seat.
Do you know why? It's because they shot it in outer space. What does that mean? Oh, Tom Cruise was there.
Do you know what? For the last few years, every time, and I haven't been on planes many times, but I have been on planes 2 or 3 times in the last decade. And every time I've been on a plane in that time, during that moment of takeoff, when you get pressed back into your seat, I think of this scene in this movie, and I think, okay, fuck it, I'm ready. I literally always have that thought. I'm like, let's do it. Like, I'm ready. I'm so ready in that moment. If the plane blew, I'd be ready.
There's that Ron White joke where he's talking to some dickhead on the plane, and he's like, I've been drinking since lunch. Hit something hard. I don't want to limp away from this fucking thing.
Yeah, I don't want to limp away. Exactly. That's my exact thought. I'm like, I don't care if I die, just don't wound me.
Hey man, if one of the engines goes out, how far will the other one get us? All the way to the scene of the crash. What are you gonna do about it? You're gonna be dead. Who cares? It'll probably be pretty quick, luckily.
Okay, if you're just going to do Ron White's entire bit, you could at least splice it in so that we get his delivery.
I'm better than Ron White. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
I am tater salad.
Okay, so the plane fucking blows up.
The plane fucking blows up, and as soon as Alex gets engulfed in flames, he wakes up, and he's freaking out, because he's already nervous. Like, he immediately gets on the plane on that first run through and turns on the fan, and he's like, he's freaking out. And then he wakes up to the girls going, hey, Alex is his name, can you switch seats with us? And then she jumps up, runs over to Todd, grabs the thing on the tray table, it fucking falls off. He's like,
exactly as it did the time before.
And then I think John Denver, does something start playing on whatever. He's like, holy fuck, the plane's gonna explode, and everybody else is like, Jesus Christ, that's not fucking funny. Chill the fuck out. That's not cool. That's not a joke you can tell until next year. Stop it.
And then the flight attendant's like, hey, if you don't stop that, I'm gonna throw you off the plane. He's like, then fucking do it.
He's like, good, I'm pulling myself off or whatever. I'm taking myself off the plane. And then,
And then Captain Douchenards has to jump up and be like, I'm gonna kick your ass, you're scaring everybody.
His name is Carter, by the way.
Of course it is. Of course it's Carter. If it wasn't Carter, it was going to be Chad.
Either way, we end up with a bunch of people, like, a couple people get pushed off the plane because they're fighting. Sean William Scott, like, he's running a little behind. He's like, oh, my seat's right over there. Oh, fuck, I don't even know these guys. Like, what the fuck? I'm not involved. And then Todd's brother's like, hey, man, you should go and check on him real quick. And then Clear is out of the path, not involved in this at all. She just kind of looks up and goes, oh, shit, I'm going to follow. He's hot, I think. I'm going to follow this guy. Their relationship develops very quickly over the course of the movie. Eventually, she calls him baby, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, I think they cut out the sex scene because there was originally during the beach scene when she comes and finds him, they fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes more sense.
That's the original script. That's part of the original ending.
That makes more sense. Wait, the original ending?
Yeah, the original ending ties into that.
They fuck on the beach in the end?
No.
Oh, no, okay, that's right. Don't tell me yet.
You said not. Yeah, you said to hold off. So.
Yep. So a bunch of people are off the plane, and, he's freaking out. The fucking plane's going to explode, and Carter's like, dude, you're such a fucking dick, and they're beating the shit out of each other and fucking around. He's like, I wish you were on that plane, Carter. Ah!
And then the plane blows.
Yeah. Oh, both of the teachers, by the way, get off. So this is actually kind of sad for Miss Luton. They're like, nobody gets back on the plane. Fuck you. And she's like, dude, we got a bunch of students going over. One of us has to be on the plane. So she tells the other guy to go because he knows the whole French thing. I'm like, then what the fuck are you there for?
Well, because you need to have more than one teacher.
For 40 students or something, yeah. So he gets on the plane, and then they're fighting, and Sean William Scott's like looking at it, going like, oh, there they go. Here we stay. And then you see him go, oh, shit. Fucking really tiny in the corner of the screen, you see the plane just like slowly exploding, as it would probably look a little more like that in real life.
And then a couple of seconds later, the windows blow out. Man. My understanding is this was a set.
Oh, I fucking hope so. They're not blowing up a real airport. We also meet, I'm going to call him a Shark Pod alum. We meet these two detectives.
Two detectives.
These two detectives. We meet
not three detectives.
Two detectives.
Like in part 3, D.
Played by, oh God, the dude from Dudes, which is a movie that we need to do. And then Agent Shrek, played by the guy whose name I don't know. But he's in
Dope, and he's in
Do the Right Thing. He's not creepy and weird in Do the Right Thing, but he is creepy and weird in this and Dope. I don't know if like
he's creepy and Dope. He's creepy and weird in this.
Oh man, that voice, dude. He's a very scary man. Like
he is. I would not like to be on his bad side. He seems like he could be very scary. Even though that's the funny thing is like he's so believable in Do the Right Thing. He's so good at that role.
Yeah, so they're all in this room and they're all like, so what the fuck happened there, guys? For some reason, even though this kid yelled, the fucking plane's gonna explode, and the plane exploded, they just let him all leave. They keep on letting him leave, by the way. They keep on interrogating him, and they're like, well, you can just go, I guess. And then one of the other, Shrek is like, should we not have held him here? And the dude's like, well, we don't really have anything to hold him on. I'm like, he was fucking at the thing. Like, he was there. Nope, I guess I'll just shut up. I don't know.
Well, okay, remember, this is pre-Columbine,
it's pre-9/11. It's post-Columbine.
It is post-Columbine, that's right, because Columbine was 99. Fuck. I always want to put Columbine in 2001 for some reason because of 9/11. Yeah.
Our country has just spent the entire 90s beginning the unravel, and then it just fucking took a shit in 2001. We were done after that. Everybody seems to be taking it fairly well. Are you traumatized when this stuff happens? You just can't cry? Like, you see Alex cry when he gets home. Oh, no parents come for Allie Larder, by the way. Very sad. Alex's parents have to give her a ride home.
Yeah. Her parents... Well, the story comes out later that her dad's dead and her mom's
a bitch who married a dickhead. Who didn't want a family.
I was trying to make sure I didn't use any language there I was going to regret.
What, a bitch and a dickhead?
No, bitch and dickhead is fine. So
the funeral happens, and it's or the memorial, I guess, for all the students. They unveil this like statue with all their names on it and stuff. Fuck, and everybody's giving Alex kind of a rough time.
Poor Alex, man. This dude cannot catch a break. Everybody blames him like he did it or something. I mean, they have, by the time the memorial's unveiled, they have the science on what happened in that crash.
Yes.
It's been 39 days because 39 students, 39 days. The idea is, that like death is taking one per day. That's why it was placated for 39 days, because it took 39 lives of the group that was supposed to be there. 39 students, 39 days. They say that during the memorial. And then the very next day is when the new deaths start, because there were supposed to be 43 or whatever the fuck it was.
So, Todd comes up to Alex and says, hey, man, I know we haven't been hanging out because my dad's a little, miffed that you fucking made me get off the plane and left my brother there, you fucking asshole.
He really wishes you'd let me die.
Kind of what it seems like. Billy is Stifler. He comes up to him and says, hey, so I just got my driver's license. I got a 70. That's the lowest score you can get. You know what the instructor said to me? Son, you're going to die at a really young age. Is he right? He's like, no, Billy, go away. Not now, not here, not ever.
And then he's like, hey, if I could talk to this girl, is she gonna let me take her out?
Then he's just like, no, get the fuck out.
He's like, get the fuck out of here.
And of course, Carter has to be a dick, because naturally, Carter essentially spends the whole movie, every time he sees Alex, he goes and like punches him. It's really weird. I'm like, dude, you need to get over it. So Todd says that, eventually we'll be able to hang out again. Okay, cool. Everything's cool, except it's not.
They won't.
Because, yeah, we cut to Todd in his bathroom, and he's like doing teenage boy stuff in the bathroom, I guess.
And this is the moment where you're either on board for this movie or you are not on board for this movie.
So much
this
shit
is ridiculous.
So much shit has to happen for this kid to die in the bathroom. The toilet leaks. I mean, I guess that's kind of it, but the toilet leaks, and he
keeps doing stuff that looks like it might kill him. He grabs his straight razor, or no, it's a safety razor, excuse me. And then he like nicks himself, but then he puts that down, and then he plugs in the radio just as this water's coming up to his foot, and it starts singing John Denver. And he's like, fuck that shit, unplugs it.
And it's sparking too, so it gets
and there's like 2 or 3 other things. It's just like one after another after another after another, and then eventually he falls and accidentally hangs himself in the shower.
All the while, Alex is sitting at home trying to relieve some stress and look at an old Penthouse magazine, and then he sees an owl.
But and it wasn't old to him.
Somebody made fun of the owl that flies into his window, but in some cultures, owls are harbingers of death. So
yes.
So it's dead fucking serious. It's a little stupid if you don't know. To be fair.
It does seem like the cat, the cat jump scare, but
if you know,
but it does
cool.
work. It does work.
And then he throws the magazine at the window, and then his fan's on, and it gets caught in the fan, and then a little piece of the magazine falls on his knee, and it says Todd, and he's like, "What the fuck does that mean?" So he goes over to Todd's house,
and Todd's dead.
Todd is dead as shit, and
which, by the way, Todd's death.
Rough,
pretty gruesome.
It's actually probably the saddest one because it's so visceral, and he's like hanging in the tub,
and he's really trying to survive. Like, but like he spills a bunch of shampoo and shit, and conditioner in the tub, and then he can't get purchased with his feet.
Did Todd kill himself? Like, why would everybody be like, yeah, Todd definitely killed himself? Did death clean up the soap in the tub too, or did it just make the water in the bathroom?
What it is that. And I think this is kind of what they touch on with his confrontation with Todd's dad is Todd's dad needs to believe it was something like that. He can't accept the idea that his son was taken from him. His son had to have taken his own life in order for him to be able to sleep at night.
And did you notice that the second Alex walks up, the dad walks up to him and goes, "Didn't you see it?"
Yes.
I'm like, fuck. Were you like being sarcastic, or were you really trying to figure out if he was like psychic?
Yeah. That could go either way, quite frankly. This guy's headspace right now is difficult to know, aside from that I think he really needs to cling to the idea that it was Todd's choice. It wasn't a random accident, because how could 2 random accidents like that happen one right after another? Yeah,
so then like obviously some more shit happens, but eventually Clear and Alex start kind of hanging out together. He goes to her house, and she's like doing this art stuff, and there's this springy guy with a head, and like is a hole in his head, and she's like
multiple holes.
Yeah, she's like, "This is you," and he's like, "What?" And she's like, "No, it's not a likeness." It's
for a minute there, he's like, "Fuck you very much."
It's how you make me feel, and this is one of those dumb Devin Sawa deliveries that only he can do, and he's like, "Sorry." I always thought it was funny. Even when I was 12 watching, I'm like, what? That's a weird... Didn't your friend just die? Shouldn't you be a little bit more, like, out of it?
He's flirting with a pretty girl.
I mean...
He's trying to play it cool. Or at least that's, the tone the filmmaker was going for.
Except she's not cool. She reads. And she, like, knows French.
That's true. She does read
Fucking
and knows
nerd.
French. And has bangs. If they gave her glasses, she'd be totally unfuckable. But like Rachel Lee Cook.
I don't even think Ali Larter is that hot, but like
I do.
Give her that.
I do think she's that hot.
Objectively, yes. But like I want dark hair Ali Larter. I want dark hair gothy Ali Larter. They talk about like going to see Todd. They're like, I want to see if he actually killed himself. There's no fucking way he would kill himself because he was making plans with me and shit. And then that's when they go to the morgue. This scene's very important mostly because fucking Tony Todd's there, and Tony Todd kind of rules.
Tony Todd knows exactly what movie he's in. He's like, all right, I'm going to give you this, and you're going to thank me for it. It's Tony fucking Todd.
They break into the morgue. It's a little fucked up. He's embalming their friend right now.
It's so over the top.
And he is not playing nice about it.
No.
Like, by the time they're ready to leave, he just looks at her and pulls the fucking tube out of his shoulder, and like the liquid like squirts out. Ugh. But he tells them that, maybe death has a design in his Tony Toddy voice.
He's so he's so mystical and creepy. Oh my god.
Did you ever buy into the theory that he himself was Death?
I could see that theory because there's no actual evidence that he works there. But it could very easily be, that he just decided to anthropomorphize himself into the sequence there because they were looking for answers, and he was like, "All right, we're going to play the game now."
I think the director and Tony Todd have both said that he's just Bloodworth. He's not Death. What a name, though, Bloodworth. As they're leaving, they're like, okay, so we're just going to get out of here. No, they're not paying any attention to the fact that their friend is dead on a slab right in front of them. They're not like, oh my God, this is so sad. They're just like, all right, cool. We're going to go now. I think that might just be a Devon Sawa delivery issue.
Yeah, I don't. Sawa's, he was really good for Idle Hands. He was really good for SLC Punk. This movie, I do feel he was miscast. It just wasn't the worst case of miscasting I've seen.
No, I'm nostalgic for it.
He's not bad. He's just good. He's a 3 out of 5.
He's just Devon Sawa about it.
Yeah.
And then as they're leaving, Tony Todd does the thing. He points at him and goes, "I'll see you soon." Fuck, it's creepy, even though it's kind of fun. Let's get out of here. Holy shit. Then they end up at that like coffee shop thing, little coffee shop area, common area, whatever, downtown or wherever the fuck it is. And they run into Miss Luton, and Carter and Terry show up because Carter wants to beat the shit out of Alex. And then Carter almost runs Billy over because he's constantly riding his bike around, and his catchphrase is, "Carter, you dick."
This death scene,
it's iconic, right?
It's so good because it's so out of nowhere.
It's actually great. It is actually the best death in the entire movie just because of how fucking crazy it is.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's so fucking unexpected, and the timing on it is perfect.
Yes.
This is a fantastic death scene.
So they're all there. Carter's fucking with Alex. Miss Luton shows up, and she's like, "I have to move." And Carter's like, she has to move just because Alex here had a bad fucking dream or whatever. And then Terry's like, all right, fuck you guys. If you want to spend the rest of your goddamn life fucking beating the shit out of Alex every time you see him, then you can all just drop fucking dead. As she's like backing into the road, and then fucking drop fucking dead. Boom! Fucking bus. And it's
nailed by the bus.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
But even though it's kind of a fun, cool one, it's still serious and it matters.
No, it freaked me out. It was so well done. Because like I said, I had read the script, but I kind of like it had been like 6 months or something like that. What I really remembered was like some of the other stuff, and like I remembered the ending, and I remembered Todd's death because that was really well described and played out.
But like reading something like that, like you don't get that full impact until you see it happen.
No, it was the execution of that made it work so well. And holy shit, that one. Whew, that hit in more ways than one.
They run into Carter at the memorial place, and he's carving Terry's fucking name into trying to carve Terry's name into the memorial because her name should be up there.
He's just got a shitty little pocket knife, or excuse me, a shitty little switchblade.
By the time we get to Miss Luton's death, Alex has figured out that there's a design. Well, he Bloodworth told him there was a design. He's kind of figured out what the design probably is, because on the news they figured out what happened on the plane. There's like an explosion and it's traveling along this certain path, and he's like, I was sitting there, Todd was sitting there, Terry there, He's like, oh shit, that's the pattern. They're dying in the order that they would have died. And I'm like, okay, that's a cool setup. Cool. I'm on board. So he goes to Miss Luton's house. Okay. Miss Luton's death is the dumbest one in the movie. It is almost like those guys in Cabin in the Woods are pumping dipshit gas into her house so she won't notice all this stuff that is happening around her.
The fact that she doesn't notice the cup just fucking streaming straight vodka out onto the floor.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here with that.
You'd hear that, you'd feel that, something, right?
Oh, there are so many indicators to make you notice that. It's ridiculous.
So she's on the phone talking to somebody while she's trying to pack up stuff. She puts on John Denver. Why would you do that? 40 kids just died in a fucking plane crash.
Record.
And then Alex shows up, and she's looking outside, and she sees him outside. She's like, oh, fuck, this crazy bastard is in my yard. I'm going to call you back. She's like, okay, it's fine. She calls the police. Well, the detectives. Shrek and...
Yeah, they're the FBI, technically.
They show up, and they show up fucking fast, actually.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but Did you notice like the last names?
Yeah, Shrek, Max Shrek.
There's a lot of horror icons in the last name.
What was the other?
Alex Hitchcock.
Yeah, Hitchcock. Well, that's Billy Hitchcock. There's Agent Shrek, Todd Wagner, Billy Hitchcock, Bloodworth, Terry Chaney. That one's obvious. Murnau, Larry Murnau.
Yep, F.W. Murnau.
Krista March, Blake Dreyer. So there's a lot of horror movie references because a dumb movie like this is for horror nerds. Let's be honest. I mean, it's very. No, it's for Scream fans? I don't know. Who is this movie for?
It was aimed at Scream fans. It was solidly aimed at Scream fans.
Oh, I was like a little too young, but I was almost the perfect age for this movie when it came out.
I'll give it this. It is playing with a slasher mentality, which is a little ridiculous for this concept, but at least it was an original idea. Like, it really is. This you cannot point to another story and be like, Final Destination totally ripped this off.
So Miss Luton... A million things happen to Miss Luton. So she's trying to make some tea.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this.
So she's trying to make some tea. She pours the hot water into a mug. She sees that the mug has the picture of the school on it. So she freaks out and spills the water all over the place. And then she decides, oh, well, I guess I'm going to use the same mug, but I'm going to put alcohol in it instead.
Yeah,
she puts ice in it.
She puts ice and then vodka right out the freezer into it, and the mug cracks, but she doesn't see it crack, even though you would absolutely hear that.
You would hear it. You would feel that water dripping on your feet, or the vodka, whatever the fuck it is. And then she's like leaning over her computer, and then some of the vodka gets into the computer and onto the motherboard or whatever the fuck, and that sparks.
This is the monitor for the young people in the crowd. This is back when monitors were like the old type of TVs where they were really, really thick and deep. And they were like big boxes.
Oh yeah,
and
you can't really do that these days.
Yeah, you couldn't do this scene these days. But she's holding her thing over the monitor and kind of looking behind it, and vodka drips into it. And again, I don't think this is even possible. Like
even back then.
Yeah, even back. No, I don't think it was possible at the time. I think because the monitor was off. That's the thing. The monitor's turned off. She didn't have the monitor on. If it had been on, then maybe, but with it off, the power's not running through that circuit board, so it's not going to short circuit.
But it does. And you know what else it does? It blows up, and the screen explodes, and a piece of the screen glass goes into her throat, and then a spark catches fire to the fucking trail of vodka from the living room to the kitchen.
Creek of vodka she left between the kitchen. Oh, let's not forget, earlier... She's drying her hands off after spilling the water, and she threw the hand towel over a knife block, which right off the bat, I'm not in favor of that at all. I was not in favor of that the second I saw her do it, and I didn't even remember how that ended up going.
Yeah, don't do that. It's weird.
I was just like, why would you ever do that? That's a terrible... No, you don't do that.
She's like fucking holding her throat while blood's squirting out of it, and there's a fucking line of fire following her ass into the kitchen, and she falls down in the
Slips
kitchen,
Slips
on the blood, yes, and then she's like trying to grab the towel to fucking, I guess, cover up the wound.
Yeah.
But she grabs it, and the knife block falls over. And the big fucking Michael Myers kitchen knife falls into her like stomach or chest or whatever.
Right dead center.
And then Alex sees that the house is on fire. Or no, he doesn't even see the house on fire. He goes in because he's gonna save her ass. And then he sees that everything's on fire, and he sees her in there. And like something explodes and fucking knocks a chair over, and it fucking knocks the knife deeper into her chest, and then she dies. Alex grabs the knife out, holds it up like an idiot, and then throws it on the ground, and then runs away, because also the stove's on still.
Oh,
and the pilot light kept going out.
Yeah, the pilot light went out, and so now the room's filling with gas.
This is the most complicated death in the entire fucking movie. We're still talking about it. It's fucking ridiculous. He runs out.
And Alex left a footprint in the blood, and he had his hands on the knife.
As he runs out, Billy's pulling up on his bike, and he's like, oh, hey, Alex, and he sees Alex running out, and then the house fucking blows up, and then...
like it's the end of Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
Yeah, like, okay, sure.
Exploding houses, it's a problem.
A little bit of overkill there, Death. Like, was he trying to get Alex just because he's annoying? Oh, man. And then the remaining 4 end up together.
Alex runs because he knows he left evidence in the house and they're going to pin it on him. And then the FBI is because, again, it's the fucking... Why are they investigating this? This is a local matter at best. The local sheriff's department should be investigating this, not the fucking federal agents. But they're investigating, and they bring everybody in, and they're all like, we don't know where the fuck Alex is because he's not talking to us because he knows that you're looking for him.
So now it is just the 4 now. It's Clear, Alex, Carter, and Billy.
Well, suffice to say, they all end up in Carter's car because they're going and looking for him. Oh, well, they're going and looking for him, and then Allie Larder gets off on one street. She's like, he's supposed to meet us on this street somewhere. I'm going to get off here. You guys go to the end of the street and we'll work towards the middle and we'll meet each other in the middle and find him. And she ends up finding him on the beach, which is not on the road.
That's right. And that's where she tells him about her dad dying and her shitty mom and her dumb fucking stepdad who's an asshole and didn't want a daughter, so her mom didn't want one either anymore.
And that's where they fuck in the original version.
So now they end up in Carter's car, and Carter's like, what the fuck? You can see stuff, can't you? So, like, who's next? And he's like, no, Carter, I'm not going to tell you that shit, because it's not going to make it easier. I've always liked this line for some reason. He's like, do you think it's going to make it easier to know, Carter? It's not. It's going to make it fucking harder. I don't know why that line always stuck with me, because it's probably true.
But then Carter loses his fucking shit and decides, well, I'm going to take my own life then. I'm going to call my own way out, and I'm going to take all you fuckers with me.
Yep. So he just starts driving this douchebag hot rod as fast as he can, not holding on to the steering wheel and shit.
Just running red lights and shit.
And they're like, we don't want to die.
And then they're like, stop the car right fucking now. And so he stops on railroad tracks with a train coming.
And he's like, well, fuck it. I'm gonna wait here, and I decide when I die, not anybody else. And then the train starts coming, and Alex had seen a vision of like
the
seatbelt breaking. So they all get out except for Carter, and everybody's like, move the fucking car, dude. Like, get the fuck out of the car. And he's like, eventually he comes to, and he's like, yeah, I guess you're right. I should probably. It's not my time. So he tries to start his car. Can't start his car. Of course he can't, because death wants you dead, bro.
Then he tries to get out of the car, and he can't get the seatbelt loose because the seatbelt's stuck.
So Alex runs over there, pulls him out, tries to pull him out, but the seatbelt won't give, and then all of a sudden it fucking breaks in half, and they just barely, they're dead. Like, if this was the real world and you saw that happen, they're dead.
No, I think the reason it happened, here's my theory on why Carter survives this, right? Because Carter was meant to be next, but if the train had killed Carter that way, it would have killed Alex first. And that was out of sequence.
Well, that too, but so Alex intervened.
So Death ripped the seatbelt himself or itself.
Which actually brings up a good point that I was thinking about. So it's very clearly Death. Death is actually like a
consciousness of some type.
A presence. You see its shadow in like reflections and stuff. My question is, what is giving these kids all these visions?
Tony Todd.
But
Bloodworth.
He's
a psychic. He knows that Death has a plan because he knows Death.
But wouldn't he want more work because he's a fucking coroner?
I don't think he actually is a coroner. I think he's posing as a coroner.
Or is he overworked and he's like, God damn it, Death, stop fucking around. I'm gonna tell you.
The coroner's office was closed. The coroner had gone home for the night, and then Tony Todd's weird wizard character steps in dressed as a coroner. He's not even dressed as a coroner. He's just letting them think he's a coroner. He never says, I'm the coroner.
But in the 5th one, he wears a coroner jacket.
Oh, sure, because by that time, he's committed to the character.
It's out in public, too. It's during the day.
At that point, he's committed to the character.
He closes the doors on the fucking coroner van.
Okay, I'm not taking the 5th one as canonical.
It is. It's canonical before this one even happens.
So, yeah, I think Death itself rips the seatbelt because it doesn't want to kill him out of sequence. It wants the sequence to be maintained.
Message us on something and tell us what you think, because I would love to hear some fucking theories.
Maybe if rather than missing the person it's going for, it accidentally kills someone who's out of the sequence, maybe it loses its power.
Because then, Alex has a fucking brain break here. Also, he's talking about, he's like wiggling his hands around, going like, oh my God, I saw the thing, I saw it break, and I fucking saved him, and then I intervened. And he's like, what are you, God? Now he's like, gods can't die. Like, they're fucking then he's just like rambling like I am right now, being a fucking crazy person.
And then the train is still passing at this point.
It's a long-ass train,
There's this loose piece of metal from the car underneath the tracks.
Poor
and you're
Billy.
Just like, oh yeah, this is going to go bad, but none of them notice it.
Yep. And then Billy's like, you're next, Carter. You're fucking next. I'm staying the hell away from you guys. And then all of a sudden fucking the train catches this piece of metal and it flies at Billy's head, which is also a really cool death scene. And it just knocks the top of his head off.
Yeah.
It's great.
From the jaw up, Billy disappears.
And then it was awesome. But again, they take it seriously. It matters to these people.
They do, but Devon Sawa's Alex is so broken at this point that he continues ranting. He's like, whoa, did you see that? I broke the chain, and so it moved on to the next person.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
He's lost it. The other two are like, oh my God, Billy's dead. Oh my God, you killed Billy, you bastard. So now the cops are officially looking for this guy. So Allie's like, clear.
Clear.
She
Not
had
Claire. Clear.
She had mentioned that she's gonna have Alex go stay at her fucking family's cabin or whatever. Carter's like, you two get the fuck out of here. I'll stick around because it's his car. He can't really disappear with a dead body there. He has to kind of stick around to be like, yeah, this happened. What the fuck is Alex doing in this fucking cabin? Like, I know what he's doing.
Oh,
but
he's death-proofing the place. He's death-proofing.
I know that, but like, what is he doing? And then he fucking
he's like wrapping all the hard edges and corners and stuff of things.
In
blankets, and he's corking all the nails.
It's the eating part that weirds me out. Like what are you doing?
No, he puts
Alex?
on the leather. He puts on the leather gloves so he can't possibly cut himself when opening the can.
It's just strange.
And then he's eating baby food so he can't choke on it.
Is it baby food?
It's some kind of pate or something like that. It's something that he can't choke on. Is basically what it is.
Yeah, it's always been
it's
weird,
like a paste.
The scene has always bugged me because it's always been weird.
This scene is almost comedy.
Yeah, and then he almost something happens, and he's like, oh, the fucking closet door's open. He goes and closes it, and a big fucking metal hook thing flies through the door, like pierces the door, and he's like, oh fuck, and he's like, oh, tetanus, all that shit.
Yeah, he finds a fishing hook. And he's like, rust. Tetanus
is
nice try.
Is death work in the slow play? Tetanus will take a minute. Jesus Christ. And then he's like talking to Death. He's like, I got this place rigged to beat you now, you fuck. Like, you need to fucking chill, bro.
Yeah, this is definitely his brain is breaking. Like his brain is fully broken at this point.
Can we talk about the part of the movie that I don't like now? There's a lightning.
Which is?
There's a lightning storm. Well, Alex figures out like, oh shit, I'm not next. Clear's next, because I moved seats and all that shit. So he finds out Clear's next. There's a fucking lightning storm. I hate this part of the fucking movie where he goes and rescues Clear. It is so fucking dumb. I know it's not much dumber than the rest of it, but it just
it
makes even less sense than the rest of it, and it's just a dumb action scene. It is legitimately.
I don't love the scene either. I gotta level with you.
And like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, he grabs. She's in the car that he's trying to escape in, but the fucking power line falls down on it, and she's grounded by the tires. And he's like, "You're gonna get out of here, but I have to fucking grab this fucking wire." And he's fighting it with a shovel too, like it's alive.
It is alive. It's being controlled by death.
It's so dumb.
It's a death snake.
But then he grabs the fucking wire, and then it explodes, and then he gets blown backwards. Like,
he grabs the wire, and she jumps out of the car that moment while he's got the wire off the car. She jumps out of the car, and then the shit blows, and then the car blows.
And then he gets blown back and doesn't die. Tiny little scars on his hands, or burns on his hands. Nothing wrong with the rest of his body.
Oh, no, he's dead. He's dead in that sequence.
See,
he is dead, but they start doing chest compressions on him, and then in the next scene, he's alive. This is where that's the same in the script. But it's everything after this that
good.
Is
we're at the ending now, so I'm gonna talk about the real ending or
the theatrical ending.
Theatrical ending. So cuts to 2-3 months later. Clear, Alex, and Carter.
6 months later.
6 months later. Yes, you're right. They end up in France by that fucking restaurant that the guy from the fifth one works at, or was going to work at, but he died on the plane on the way over there.
I gotta admit, after 6 months, I'd pretty much
you'd be moved on probably.
I feel like I would have made good progress towards getting back to some semblance of normalcy. Yeah. I would assume that I had dodged the bullet at that point.
I would think so, yeah. That's not the dumb part. I mean, it's not really... By the time we get here, I'm over the dumbness, and I'm okay with these three. I'm okay with these three, like, surviving and shit. But there's
I will say he comes back so unceremoniously that it was a tacked on ending.
I was thinking that exact same thing. I'm like, there's an ending that we didn't see. The audience was not happy that he died.
No, I'll tell you the original ending when you're ready for it.
So Alex kind of has another little. He's like, well, there's just one thing that I don't get about the plan, right? The Death's plan, and they're like, fuck me, dude. Are we done with this shit? We've been talking about this for 6 months. Like, let's stop. And he's like, just hear me out. So this happened, and I intervened, and nobody intervened with me. So what the fuck what's going on there? And then John Denver, like a street performer, starts playing John Denver songs, and then all the weird camera work starts happening.
At this point, it started to become a little belabored, but okay.
And all the movies are like this. Oh, they just get dumber and dumber as it fucking goes on. Essentially, the big fucking sign drops off of the fucking restaurant, and it swings at Alex, and then Carter dives in and saves his ass. He's like, see, man, I saved you. Fuck yeah, bro. And then they're like, wait a minute. Who's next? And then the sign comes swing. It's kind of a fun ending. The sign comes swinging back, and Carter's dead. Cut to credits. There we go. And that's the end of the movie. Or is it? Yes, it's the end of that movie. But how was it supposed to end?
Okay, the original ending, it ends in a hospital with Clear delivering Alex's baby because Alex is dead and they fucked on the beach and she got pregnant, and then it's sort of a he lives on through you type of a situation.
New life will fuck up Death's design. New life that wasn't supposed to exist.
Yeah.
So those assholes stole that for the second movie.
Yeah, that was the original ending.
They probably said, like, fuck it, we want a sequel, so let's fucking make that ending so we can...
But then Devon Sawa was like, nah, I'm not coming back.
So they kill him off screen because a brick falls on his head or some shit. That's a much better ending.
Weak.
That's a much better ending because it's like...
No, I agree.
I don't love a happy ending all the time, but that happy ending actually kind of works.
Yeah.
Because it's a bittersweet ending.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet type ending. And it was kind of refreshing at the time because, I mean, that was how I felt when I read the script, because everybody was doing the sequelitis ending. Everybody was doing the trying to set it up for a sequel. We want to be Scream type of ending. And I like that they were just like, no, we're going to go a completely different direction with this. But of course, the fans didn't want it because the fans did want Scream.
And again, I like that.
Or rather, I guess I should say test audiences.
I like the theatrical ending. It's pretty good. Like it gets
it
exciting.
Yeah, it works.
But no, that's like,
it does feel tacked on.
That's like a good ending, an actual ending.
And if you have the New Line Platinum Series DVD, I believe it's in the special features that you can actually watch the original ending.
Oh, really? They did actually shoot it?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, it did make it to the test audience stage.
Okay, so that it's one of those two things. The test audiences didn't like it, or they were like, well, we want a sequel because the test audiences totally liked it.
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah.
One or the other.
I hate fucking test audiences, dude.
I understand it. I mean, it's not, Carpenter has said that test audiences have worked for him in the past, so it's not like they never do good. They never do good, but giving them too much power is a bad idea too.
And it didn't ruin the thing. It just kind of now we're left with 5 movies that don't need to exist, really.
It's okay. I mean, somebody made a shitload of money, obviously, but it's fine. You can go ahead and ignore them if you don't like them.
And the issue is that
I am kind of glad we got 2 though, just because the opening of 2 is so strong.
The issue is that I do actually like them, except for 4. Fuck that movie. Exactly like Sharknado, except even Sharknado 4 is more fun than the Final Destination.
Ouch.
Very
low
much.
Low blow.
Yeah. Because at least Keith Coogan shows up and does dumb shit in Sharknado 4, and that's fun. And Ian Ziering is always cool, so...
I do like Ian Ziering, yeah.
So, yeah, that's the end of this fucking movie. That's the end of this fucking franchise. No, it's not. They're making more.
Not even close. They're going to do the requel now.
They can make 1,000 of these movies as long as, like, one of them is good, I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
Even if they're not good, I don't have to watch them.
Yeah, I don't have to go see them, so...
So we're mostly done. Do you have any final thoughts before we run away?
Yeah, if you haven't seen Final Destination and you're kind of in a 90s horror mood, because technically it was in 2000, but it's totally 90s horror. And if you're looking for an original type of storyline, Final Destination will give it to you. It is what it is, and you have to be on board for that. But if you are, it's fun. It takes itself extraordinarily seriously to the point where you can totally Mystery Science Theater this fucker if you want to.
It only works if you take it seriously. I mean, it only works if they take it seriously. You don't have to take it seriously.
Yeah, you can go either way. You can accept it or you can reject it and still have fun either way. But I have to give it that it is an original storyline, and it wasn't just trying to be another Scream. It was definitely trying to capture the Scream audience, but it wasn't trying to be Scream. It had some original thoughts, and I value that in horror. And that actually is one of the things I love most about horror, is there are so many original thoughts in horror. Yes, sequelitis is a plague, and then occasionally the sequels do turn out good sometimes, and so sequelitis can actually be a good thing. But even with all the sequel obsession that studios have, horror is the last bastion of the original idea, and that's why I love it. It doesn't scare me anymore. It is such a rare thing that horror actually scares me, but it engages me with originality.
This movie's pretty good. It's a little stupid. Good concept. Yes. Very nostalgic for me because I saw it in the theater when it came out.
Yeah. Oh God, you must have been young.
12.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were right on the edge where like it was like they probably shouldn't have let you see it, but it was actually like, as those types of movies go, this one was probably the safest for you.
Without fucks in it, this is a PG-13 movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's some blood. There's the Sean William Scott decapitation is pretty graphic.
If it was PG-13, they would have cut away as his head got lopped off.
Yeah. There could have, if you could take the fucks out, there could easily be a TV cut of this movie.
I bet the TV cut is fucking ridiculous.
I bet it is.
I've been hearing about a lot of TV cuts lately, and they all sound nuts. We're done with Final Destination. Next week, we're gonna tackle Final Destination 2. It'll be great. Get the fuck out of here. Actually, you do social media nonsense, and then we'll get the fuck out of here.
All right, you should definitely check us out on social media at the Shark Pod on everything. My social media is linked to the Instagram. So if you want to follow my stand-up comedy at Samuel Mance, I am on Facebook, I am on Twitter, I am on X. Threads. I'm not on X. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Threads. No, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads.
Good
Jesus.
Fucking Lord.
At Samuel Mance. And then Andrew's band is on there also linked to our Instagram account. So if you want to follow his music, at Not For Nothing Music, also linked in the Instagram account at the Shark Pod. Yeah, check us out.
Has anyone ever told you that you take a really long time to sell stuff?
I'm a terrible salesman. I'm very open about this. I can't promote for shit.
Patreon.com/SharksAcrossHollywood. Go there. Listen. Money. Give us.
Do it.
For stuff in your ears. I don't know why I acted so impressed with myself. Anyways, we're going to be back next week to finish out this year's Halloween bullshit with Halloween H2O. I'm kind of psyched. It's going to be fun. I haven't watched this movie in a long time.
I haven't watched it since the theater.
Holy shit. I haven't watched it since I had Stars. And I don't mean Stars like the streaming service. I mean Stars like cable TV Stars.
Remember that, Grandpa?
Yeah.
Remember when Stars was a channel, not a streaming service?
It's been a while. But yeah.
Not an Amazon application.
Shit. We'll be back next week with that bullshit. But until then, stay jawsome.